And I genuinely thought that this election would be different.
The Liberals are going to throw everything they have at us. It's going to get worse.
But now it looks like it's going to be nasty and negative.
It's going to get nasty. We know it's going to get nasty because Justin Trudeau's already started to get nasty.
Nasty, oh, you nasty boys.
Preach, Janet.
It's actually Miss Jackson, if you're nasty.
Sure, Ryan. This is great. We're a year away from the federal election, and the leaders are already saying it's going to be a total dumpster fire.
Hello and welcome to Backbenchers, your bi-weekly snapshot of Canadian politics. I'm Ryan Maloney.
I'm Mohammed Omar, and it's late October, which means two things. We're putting the finishing touches on our Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper Halloween costumes.
I'm going to be Lady Gaga.
And the federal election is just 1 year away.
Yes, and to mark the occasion, we have scored an exclusive interview with a federal party leader that we have coming up later in the show.
Yes, I was there, and spoiler alert, things get very catty.
And with the unofficial campaign officially beginning, we thought we'd take a look at some of the issues that Justin Trudeau's Liberals, Andrew Scheer's Conservatives, and Jagmeet Singh's NDP will spend the next year yelling about while also claiming to take the high ground.
Yes, let's begin with Justin Trudeau.
So here's what we're going to do. Starting next year, it will no longer be free to pollute anywhere in Canada.
Remember how Ontario, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and New Brunswick didn't want a carbon tax? Well, surprise, they're getting one anyway.
And in the next year, Trudeau is going to tell people in those provinces, look, I know that you're paying a bit more at the pumps, but check out these fat government rebate checks. Yes, starting in the spring, people in those 4 provinces will receive a couple $100 to offset costs. And it's a total coinkydink that those checks will start rolling just months before an election.
Yeah, nothing to see here. Meanwhile, the NDP will be trying to remind you they still exist. They'll be pushing for national pharmacare, opposing pipelines, and trying to make sure you know who this guy is. Jagmeet Singh has a big by-election coming up in BC. And if he doesn't win this, the party could find itself looking for a new leader very soon.
And Conservatives are going to spend their time dumping on the Liberal carbon tax, but they're also going to try to make the Liberals look soft. Soft on crime, soft on trade, soft on the borders, just soft all over. And part of that is to make sure that they don't lose even one vote to this guy.
Yes! That's Conservative defector Maxime Bernier, who officially registered his new party, the People's Party of Canada. It promises populism, privatization, personal liberty, and other things that start with P.
So Bernier's party is very new and it's very small, but it's not the only small party trying to get your vote in the next election. There are actually several fringe parties in Canada, from the Marijuana Party, which you'd think would be basically packing up shop right now, to the Libertarian Party, which advertises itself like this.
Now that is a slogan. But we wanted to find out what success means to a smaller fringe party, so we reached out to one of them. Unlike the People's Party of Canada, the Animal Protection Party of Canada has been around for years. Their fearless leader is Liz White, and she does this as a full-time job.
Ooh, it's time for our exclusive.
Yes, she invited me to her Toronto headquarters, and before we got started, we had to find some extras to include in our interview. How many pets do you have in the office?
Four.
Four
cats.
4 cats.
Yeah. Isaac, Morris, Shiloh, and Hannah.
Here, kitty, kitty. This is tough.
Yep.
This is tough. Okay, the kitties weren't ready for the spotlight, so I sat down with White to learn more about her party. So what could a Canadian expect from a government run by the Animal Protection Party of Canada?
Obviously, with animal agriculture, a party like ours would get in and say everybody has to be vegan from now on. That's not going to work. So we've looked at issues like the subsidies that are given to intensive animal agriculture, and there are a lot of them. So we would start by saying, you know, we're going to remove those subsidies from those industries and put it into plant-based agriculture.
What are the challenges of being a smaller party?
To be able to run 338 candidates, that's a big challenge. Trying to find people who actually want to put their names on the ballot.
So why is it important to have your own party? Why not work within the machine?
That's a really good question, because it's certainly something that we've tried over the years. I think at the end of the day, we're advocating such significant change, but I don't think the other parties are prepared to take the political risk, and I would argue that's why we're not there with the Green Party. They're not radical enough in that regard.
The Green Party isn't green enough.
That's right. That's right. That's absolutely right.
In between elections, White says her party lobbies to push the government on issues like banning animal testing. But how does a small party like hers gear up for a federal election?
I think the success is to push the other parties, understanding that we're not going to get elected. But you know, I have an opportunity when I'm a candidate and we're in a room of 300 people to actually challenge the candidates who are representing the main parties as to what they're going to do about protecting the environment and what they're going to do about protecting animals.
Would your government, if your party forms government, promise a puppy or a kitty to Canadians?
No.
Why is that? Look at the polls, Liz. The polls say puppies and kitties are awesome.
Well, puppies and kitties are awesome.
All right, so maybe giving everyone a puppy or kitten isn't going to help animals in shelters. White says the party doesn't get more than a few hundred votes during elections. But that hasn't stopped them from pushing other parties to consider policies focused on animal and environmental protection. And this all made me realize that with these smaller parties, just showing up can make a difference. She's protecting the animals. It's the Animal Protection Party.
Oh, she's soft on puppies. Who knew?
I know, that surprised me too. But this got me thinking, I wish we could start our own Backbenchers party.
Well, Mo, there's nothing stopping us, except for our own crippling fear of certain failure. So you'd like to start your own federal party. Well, good for you. But if you want to be taken seriously and registered properly, there are some things that you need to know. First, you need to sign up some supporters. You need 250 electors who are over the age of 18. You need names, contact information, and addresses, because Elections Canada is going to verify that you didn't just dream these people up like you did that high school girlfriend who goes to a different school. Now let's talk about the name. It needs to be something fresh. So you can't just call your ragtag group of misfits the Real Liberals or something. And you also can't use the word independent so as not to confuse people with independent candidates. And the same rules apply for your party logo and your acronym, so give a good think about your party branding. Remember the Canadian Alliance? Of course you don't. But in 2000, they were known as the Canadian Conservative Reform Alliance. You put a P at the end for party, and you end up with C-crap, as in C, crap. Immature? Yes. Hilarious? Yes. But 2 days later, they rebranded to become the Canadian Reform Conservative Alliance, flipping around that C and that R. And you need some nerds. Okay, you need 3 party officers, an official agent who can enter into contracts, and an auditor with some credentials like a chartered accountant. You won't be officially registered until you can endorse a candidate in either an election or a by-election. That's where the rubber hits the road. And the clock is ticking. Okay, this needs to be done 60 days before an election.
Well, that sounds like way too much work. Plus, we'd have to figure out who's going to be a leader.
Obviously it would be me. It would be me.
See,
it's already getting nasty.
That's our show. Thank you very much for watching. We leave you now with my favorite moment from the last 2 weeks.
At the website, OCS is selling a product that's called Cannabis Intimate Spray. Is that an appropriate product to be selling on the website?
Well, we'll leave it to the Ontario Cannabis Supply or Ontario Cannabis Store to continue to put products out there that the people of Ontario are looking forward to purchasing.